honestly, to me, who had a lot of flavor in that battle, that B-Street was Doze. He had those little like, So I thought we would always mimic that because just I don't know, there was something about it. I didn't know it was dancing at the time or flavor, whatever it was. It just stuck. Besides the New York City Breaker guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw Kenny really get down in the '90s, I was like, damn, that looks like dancing. Like that doesn't look like just windmills. And so that's what made me want to take a taste of breaking because it looked like dancing because I was a freestyle hip hop dancer, right? So.
Okay. You talk to us a little bit about your traveling. You've traveled to a lot of different places. What were those experiences like? You going to different spots and experiencing what they were doing.
Yeah, it's a lot like what we're talking about. A lot of disconnection to hip hop. It was just breaking. I'll go to Malaysia and I'll be like, "Why y'all listen to Sean Kingston?" And like, or what's his name? Was that guy at the time? This was like 11 years ago.
Sean Paul.
So it was like, or like they would listen to like Lady Gaga. I'm like, huh? You know what I mean? Like they would they would have this persona, but then when they were chilling, it was like Lady Gaga. What is this? Like LMFAO, like. So it's like, okay, there's like a disconnection, right? They're just watching the breaking. There's this one crew in Singapore though. I remember because so Malaysia and Singapore are right next to each other, right? There's one island, right? And Singapore is more westernized. Malaysia is a little bit, I would say, like it's more like they're like religion rules there more than like capitalism, while Singapore is like capitalism. It's like one bridge, so one little island city country. And I remember I was in Malaysia. It's like they're listening to Lady Gaga. It's like, okay, their b-boys are okay. I'm like, they don't get it. Then I remember I just crossed one bridge. I was like, okay, it's gonna be the same thing because it's the same people, right? Same type of like Malay people. And I remember got to the hotel. Boom. What do you want to drink? And we got Henny. And they're speaking English too. I'm like, all right. And they're all dickied out. I'm like, all right. And then all of a sudden I'm listening to Biggie. I'm like, what the? Like, I went from like Lady Gaga to Biggie. And it's like, they're called Radical Force. And they got it. Like they understood what the culture was, like full around. Okay. They had graffiti guys. They were connected to the DJs. They knew who the DJ, like, D-Styles, out of all the visual scratch pickles, I like D-Styles. Like, how do you, like, what the, like, is it? And that's another thing, because English is their first language out there. So, like, there's that connection. Like, they can actually appreciate the lyrics and, like, you know what I mean? And they love, like, I was just like, and it's funny because that crew, Radical Force, they didn't win any big events. But right now, they have the biggest event in Asia, one of the biggest dance events in Asia. Like it's covered out everywhere. And it goes to show you those who understand the culture, those know how to bring the vibe.
Right.
It's like people gravitate. They're still conducting, like they're still leading the pack. So even though they didn't necessarily win competitions, people loved them. Like so, and that even for me when I threw my event in May, I was just like, I packed the house. I was like, I had people from Atlanta, Canada, Japan, Florida, Vegas, San Diego, like y'all come to my, like, whoa, that's crazy. It's like, but it goes to show you, it's like, if you care about the culture, you care about the little details in your event and you promote it right, people will come and they'll talk. So Singapore, so just circling back to your original question, like Singapore is like one of my favorite places to go to.
Okay.
Another place that understands hip hop is Japan. And that's the opposite. They don't understand any English. Yet they love that. Like hip hop is their thing. Like, they have lowriders out there. Like
I was just gonna say
they have cholos out there. Like
I was just gonna say, because I mean I've never been to Japan, but I saw that they're very West Coast influenced when it comes to certain culture.
Not just they got people that are just like they'll still dressing low. like they'll do the whole joint, like they'll do the whole like low life people, like oh shit, like you know what I mean, like they're all, it's like all across the board, like as far because they were like as far as when hip hop first came, where they were definitely one of the first countries outside of the U.S. to embrace it. You know what I mean? And they're not even English speaking, you know, let alone like, you know, Europe. They were just on it, so they always had this appreciation for hip hop. And then Europe, like it's they're all hip hop. Like France, they're hip hop heads. You know, they just believe that they created everything, which is like funny. Yeah, I'll go to an OG, like this guy Nico from Paris City Breakers. He was like, I was there at that first hip hop tour with like, you know, Bam and, you know, the Rocksteady guys, and I was there. Right. All right. So it's like, and all the French guys get disappointed when he tells them that, like, oh, we didn't make anything up. Like, so traveling different countries is like, that's the thing that, but I go to break, and that's the universal language is movement. But there's some that, again, that get it as far as the culture and what, you know, like the little intricacies and the little, like, if you understand like the little nuances of like fashion and like the attitude, and some that just want to break. They just care about breaking and winning. So, I mean, that's across the board. And that's even here in America too. It's the same thing.
Right.
But that's what's dope about breaking is that it gave me like what, 30 countries and 100 cities around the world. Like, I mean, I'm grateful, you know, because it's like, I didn't think that. Like, I was just kind of, when I was young, I was just happy to be there. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool, you know?
All of hip-hop. Wow.
Yeah, and as I get older, I travel, but I travel less now. But now I'm more like a kid. Like I want to get my turtles down. Like it's just like, it's not even like, because I've done a lot of things. Like I've done a lot of things in breaking that a lot of people haven't. So once that I conquered that part, it's all like, you know, what can we do for the community? Like I still want to make a living out of it. I want to be the Joe Rogan of breaking. Like that's my goal. Like be the Thrasher of breaking. And put kids on and try to educate and be a voice of culture. And like I said, if you're born after 77, you just have this idea of the culture in breaking, that is, in breaking. And you just know, all you know is competition. So when I'm doing these videos, when I'm doing these podcasts, it's like, no, I'm trying to unite kind of like, you know, even though I don't know like the latest graph writer, right? Like I don't know who's hitting right now. I do know my roots and I do know what to look for and what that nuance can play in, you know, in your break, just in your breaking, you know what I mean? Or this DJ, you know, Rob Swift is like good at this scratch or this juggle, but Shortcut's good at this juggle. How can I bring that feel to my breaking? And that's the thing that I'm trying to show the kids. Again, that's why there's this new underground scene coming out. Which is, you know, yeah.
Dope.
Can you talk a little bit about your 2012 podcast, The Epicenter?
Oh shoot! Damn, you've done your homework. So that one again. So these opportunities come to like, they come to me. It's not like I'm asked. Sometimes I do ask, right? But that one was this guy named Ramel. He used to be a rapper in the '90s out here. Not big crew, just like a underground crew, and he started a thing on Ustream. And this is the same thing that like Joe Rogan started on. This is 2012. And he was like, why don't you guys do like a sports center for breaking? And it was me and my brother at the time. We're like, sure. And it kind of like went from there. And for whatever reason, it stopped going. Like we stopped the studio, something happened with the studio. Like it couldn't sustain any money. So then we started doing it out of the house. Started doing Epicenter here, and it was me and my brother, but my brother wanted to do more comedy stuff and I wanted to do straight up breaking stuff. Like he wanted skits and this and that. I just wanted like the straight hard facts, like who's killing it now, who's winning this, what styles are there, the history. And actually the first Profo's pick was in 2012, that Epicenter. And the first kid I remember I put on was this guy named Prodigy, and he was like this kid from LA. So, you know, fast forward, like, you know, we did it for a year, I think, here. And then again, like I just didn't agree with my brother. Like I just didn't want to do the comedy stuff. Like I was like, I just, you know, and it's kind of like, and we were doing it weekly and we didn't see anything out of it. And And then around 2016, I was on Facebook, and I remember there was this battle, and there was this kid named Poc Poc from France. He had this battle, and he had a lot of press. And then, back then in Facebook, that's the only thing we could talk about or complain. And everyone was like, "Oh, that guy sucks." Da 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 da. And I was like, and I'm always trying to I was like, what's on the other foot? I can't just stick to my opinion. I gotta feel like, why does not anyone feel this guy or whatever? And I didn't want to write. So I was like, well, I was on a show. Why don't I just go on, put my camera on, start talking? And that led to the trades. You know what I mean? That led to the trades right here. So that I was doing that 2000. That's why I had to do it in 2016 before I anyone else was doing it. I was just on Facebook. And I was doing that 2016. So but I would do stuff like Jeff Chang, the writer of Can't Stop, Won't Stop, went to my house. Or I had Charlie Rock on from the original Zulu Kings. It led from that because I was hungry for this information. You know what I mean? I was still like, well, since I'm here and I'm doing it weekly. And then during the pandemic, actually, I stopped it. And I started concentrating more on me and just, working out and all that type of stuff. And then around 2 years ago, I had a bunch of friends on YouTube, and they were doing their thing. And I'd go on their shows sometimes, and they're like, "You should do this. You should have a podcast." Like, well, I already did this, but not on YouTube. I did it on Facebook and Instagram, and then after that, it was done. I was like, "Okay, YouTube, might as well. Let's start it again on YouTube." And yeah, it's been going on. And now it's like, I never thought I would have an interview with Michael Holman. Or Sasa, you know what I mean? Sasa, right. One of the first B-boys. And I'm like, it's led to a lot of good stuff. I'm like, oh shoot. And then I look to my left and right. It's like, none of you guys doing this? You know what I mean? Okay, I'll be the first one. Cool. Right. All right. You know what I mean?
Huh. Yeah, that is kind of strange that I guess nobody really had the idea to do that, right?
Yeah,
you would think that after so many years that someone, I mean, I guess it's you, but
there's a few guys, but I could count them in my hands. You know what I mean? Yeah. And maybe they start, but they stop because. And here's the thing about you have to understand marketing. You know what I mean? No one like dancing on YouTube is like this because once TikTok started, I could just watch 30 seconds or 15 seconds, and the demographic is they don't want to listen to long form. Even my show, right? The trades or the hip hop dark web is hip hop dark web, aka the old head show. Because I look at my analytics, it's everyone over 45. Yeah. So it's so my strategy. Well, I have to chop it up and put it on Instagram. That way, I can at least, if you're interested, I can funnel you into YouTube if you want to listen to the whole thing. Because that's where the kids are really paying attention. That's why I chop it up the way I chop it up so kids could go, I gave that little.
Yeah. What were they going to say? Or, let me go.
Yeah, exactly. I just funnel them in. And it's and if they don't care, at least they care about that little 30 seconds that I put up.
Right.
I'll put the highlight and they're like, oh, I never knew that. You know what I mean? So, and even this new thing I'm doing called The Moment of Breaking History, it's just I'll put visuals to I had the creator of the Six Step. I did a whole thing. I took videos and spliced it up, and people like that because I never knew that. You know what I mean? And there's B-boys that don't even know that. There's B-boys that are older than me that didn't know that. You know what I mean? That's where me and Pluto are
That guy's, I don't know. He's amazing when it comes to that stuff, man.
I mean, that's the guy I refer to too. Yo, Pluto, should I do this? I'll be he's like, yeah, go for it. All right.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty dope.
You talked a little bit about B-boying going to the Olympics. What are your thoughts on that?
I think okay. So my whole thing is this: it's I'm for it because here's the fear is that the culture is gonna die. I'm for that. I'm for the culture dying on that stage, but it won't die. It's just we have to. It's like I said. I talked about Supreme. Why isn't there Supreme for breaking? Because we're not curating it. You know what I mean? Like I said, Steve Rocco and Rodney Mullen, they did something about it. They actually started a company, the biggest skate company around that created other skate companies. And they, Steve Rocco's brother created Big Brother skate magazine. It was super controversial, but from those people, you had the Jackass crew are from that. So it was like kind of this counterculture of skating that just was about street kids. None of the media right now that covers dance care about the street kids. But then like you look at skating, all these street skaters recovered. They all got accolades. They all, like Stevie Williams, like, you know, he has his own company. He never did a competition. He controls the cool. And the problem is, like, no matter how much I yell about it, they're not going to listen to me unless I do it. And that's why I get these kids respect, because I'm the only one going, hey, you know what? You're dope. You don't need to be on that stage. You don't have to do quadruple flips and fly in the air. You could just do a top rock, one drop, get up. And if I could film you in a way where you don't know you're being filmed, and I could get you in the essence, dope. And if I could get you a deal, if I could get you a sponsorship doing that, that's why with the Olympics, it's like this. Skating got really big because of Tony Hawk. Yeah, again, like, no one's trying to dress like Tony Hawk, but he's the most famous skater. Mm-hmm. He did that 900, and everyone remembered it from 1999. If there wasn't that, there wasn't Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which propelled skating. We need that too. We need a 900 in breaking. But I just trying to tell these kids and everyone else, it's like, you don't have to be the vert guy. Just be happy for the vert guy. You don't have to do it. I'm not trying to eliminate it. Just understand you're fulfilling a niche if you create, so for instance, like, you know, I'm creating this different media for guys that are considered, instead of street skaters, we call them cypher b-boys. They just like to cypher. They just like to get down and cypher. If I could cover them and make them look cool and then get them signed to Nike without joining competition, job well done. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still get the validation, you still get the shine, but you don't have to do anything where you feel like, oh, no one likes me because I can't fly in the air. And it's like, in music, it's like that. Yeah, there's Billboard, but who really pays attention to that? When you like Tribe, and that's it. Hands down. There's nothing about it. I don't have to compete with no one. Right. And that's originally breaking was that. It wasn't a judge. It was your friends thought you won, and the guys, the crew that you battled, their friends thought you won. You're still there. I'll see you next week. That's all it was. Like, and we need to return to that. I need to see you next week. That's it. Versus like, oh, I lost my deal because I didn't win the last two major events, and that's because it's a sport. At that point, it's a sport, and I get it. So I want there to be a Nike team. I want there to be an Adidas team. I want there to be a Puma team, just like the Red Bull BC1 guys. I want there to be, they pick the best guys. They all compete at this big, like, there's going to be a Nike Cup. I'm predicting it right now. I'm calling it right now. There's going to be, like, there's a Red Bull BC1. There's going to be a Nike Cup, guaranteed. Once that happens, forget about it. There's going to be a B-boys and B-girls with 6-figure contracts. But on the counter of that, your cypher b-boy is like a street skater who is your street team. There's no real street skaters hating on the vert. They just know that that's not their thing. But they still love Tony Hawk. Why do I have to hate on Tony Hawk? I'm getting mine. I'm getting a check. He's getting a check. Why should I complain about him? And the problem in the breaking right now, we hate on each other because we think we're chasing the same thing when we're not. We're more like artists that are musical. Some are gonna do these amazing record-breaking moves, and some are just gonna move culture. You just gotta know how to market yourself moving culture. And I think I'm one of the first guys to just talk like that about breaking. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we just need to like support each other and let them have it. Cause then once it's like, you know, like as the tide come on, all ships float. So let them, like, we need a 900 moment. Skating wouldn't be pushed. Street skating wouldn't be pushed if there was no if Tony didn't do 900. That's 20 years ago. There'd be no new street skaters if it wasn't for that 900. That's your little taste. We all had Beat Street. You know how many b-boys started because you got served? We're talking the hardest, illest, rawest, stylistic b-boys started from watching You Got Served. You Got Served because it was a gateway.
Yeah. Hey,
then they met the right. Then they met the right people, and it's like, nah, that's actually whack.
Right.
This is what's dope.
Right.
We all gotta. Yeah, we all need an entrance point, right? So I'm for it. You know what I mean? It's just the fear of that. What's going to be more popular than me? It's just what it is. Like radio. Like Cardi B is going to outsell the dopest MC out there. That's just period. There's nothing you can do about it. Won't stop from like, you know, you listen to MF Doom. Won't stop from like whoever news coming out that you think this is the illest. Like,
right. Crazy. So how dope would it be though? Because you keep saying about Nike having the cup, right? But When I think of like early, like, breaking and just hip hop in general, I always think of Puma and Adidas, right? How dope would it be if like Puma had a team and Adidas had a team?
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's happening.
That would be kind of sick, actually.
It's happening. It's happening. Like I said, like here's the thing. I just put it out there. So, for instance, they had the World Games last year in Alabama, right? So, the USA breaking or the breaking period in Olympics under this federation called the WDSF, right? And they're a ballroom actually. They're actually a ballroom company or federation. And at the World Games, there was this big, like in Alabama, there was this big dome, and they had this like nice ass floor, air conditioning, all that. They stuck the B-boys and B-girls some abandoned warehouse.
Oh wow!
And no air conditioning, right? Just minimal. Sold out crowd, and Nike was there.
Oh wow!
And USA won too, gold.
Wow, crazy.
Alabama, they don't know anything about hip hop like that.
Alabama, yeah.
They outsold the WDSF thing with the nice venue.
Wow,
2,000 people, and Nike was there to see that. They're like, oh. So they're just waiting for the 2024 Olympics to happen and see how many asses and seats they can get.
Yeah.
And if they get asses and seats, that might be our 900 moment. And especially if someone from the US wins, oh my gosh, right. It's done.
Right.
Wheaties boxes. Wheaties boxes, you know what I mean?
That would be cool. That would be,
and that's why I can't hate. And I know those guys too. Yeah. Dope guys. They don't break like me, but they're good guys still. Like, why am I? And girls, like, why am I gonna hate? Like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, because they still like they only hate if we hate. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if more people are coming up understood what I understand the business sense that you don't have to hate, we all could thrive from this, then your competition is someone else that's closer to your level and you can still do it. So it's happening, man. I think everyone's talking about it. Everyone that's outside the industry is talking about breaking in the Olympics. Okay. So I think it's gonna be a big thing. It's gonna be a big thing.
Dope. Is one of your main focus now? Is it the media?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still battling. I'm even thinking about like, there's some battles I want to do this year, but I'm more like I need to like talk about this stuff more. Like I need to like put it out there because it's like like I said, I predicted this 6 years ago, and now it's kind of happening. And without me going, hey guys, dude, they just kind of it's organic, and it's just like we needed this kind of thing. And I studied too many different things and reverse engineer everything. So I just like when I first started teaching breaking back in 22 years ago, people said you're not going to be able to do it. I had people doubting me like, that's only in Japan. Right. Now you go like, there's at least a dance school in every city and they have a breaking program, some sort of breaking program. And if not a whole full breaking schools. Yet they said that then I had people like, you'll never make it. Like, okay. Now it's like going to be in the Olympics. So and it's like I said, like I battled just to battle. I don't battle to win. I battle to see if I can do it. Like I'm old. Let's see if I can do it. Right, I'm going to try this move. If I fall on my face, don't laugh at me. Like,
hey, listen, I mean, if you could still, it's like basketball players that don't play anymore. You hit the court, hit a couple of shots.
Yeah.
It's still in you, man. But speaking on that though, what is your exercise and regimen?
Oh my God. I work out more than I dance. I could just tell you that much. I work out more than I can dance. I work out 5 times a week to dance 2 days a week. It's just how I have to. It's just your body shuts down and my body can't take the impact like I used to. There's no way. So I have to find things to work the same muscles without taking the impact. Because that's the most of the work in breaking is the shock of like catching yourself, right? So if I could work on the muscles not to keep going. And then I have to, and that's the thing, I had to study my body. I have to study what, the connective tissue is, the difference between ballistic stretching, dynamic stretching, static stretching. I do intermittent fasting. I have like a 8-hour window, and then 16-hour fast. Like I do stuff like that. I still I'll do extreme stuff like Wim Hof. I could do a breath hold for like 3 minutes.
Oh,
like
is that
ice bath for 10 minutes.
Do you think you would still be doing that kind of stuff even if you weren't dancing?
No.
No?
Hell no, I'm too lazy.
It's strictly for the dance.
Yeah, I don't do it for my health. I do it because I want to dance. Because that's just it's just if I don't do it, I'm screwed. I'll be hurting for days. So I have to do these things, and at the same time, it's challenging. So then come on, man. I'm a 48-year-old b-boy that's still learning moves. There's a lot of guys in their 40s still breaking, but these are moves they've been doing since they're 16.
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff I don't think I've never done before. Can I do it? And it's a slower process. Don't get me wrong. It takes me forever. It takes me forever to get a move. It'll take me months or years, but like I said, that's where it's like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get it, I can do turtles now. There's certain moves I'm I never touched, and I was like, that move's whack. 6 years later, I should have dissed that move. That move's actually kind of fresh, and I could actually use it, and I should have worked on this. And so it's actually the journey of the process that I'm in love with. It's actually breaking. It's and there's a lot of people that quit because of, I never got my shine. The judges didn't vote for me. No one No, I'm straight up a little kid. When you're a kid, when you hit that windmill, you're like, I got it. You hit that head spin, I got it. That's where I'm at. And and it's dope because more people there's these talented people that quit just because they didn't get their shine. Again, because the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So the true hip hop feeling is what keeps you thriving.
Yeah, hell yeah. We don't know the shelf life so I train like a fighter. The same regimen I do the same as fighters do. Because the guy who got me into the fitness stuff, he was a b-boy that does Muay Thai. All right, he used to break, but now his main thing is Muay Thai.
Okay.
So when he would train me, we mixed breaking and Muay Thai. We talking put on full pads, do around a four-minute round with the pads, and then I have to do a breaking round. That puts you in a different zone.
Yeah.
You find it. You learn to find it. So that is what put me on some step. So even in coaching, I'm don't get me some young kids that want to win, or I'm gonna put you through the ringer. You know what I mean? Because if I could do it at 48, if you're 21, you'll kill people. You'll go on forever. So even at that helped that helped me get into shape. So
nice.
Yeah.
Either way, it's beneficial to you either way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain, bro.
Yeah.
I can't complain. It's dope. It's dope. It's I'm amazed. I'm I'm still doing this. Sometimes I'll do a move and I'll hit. I'm like, wow, am I still doing this? This is crazy. But we don't know the shelf life. We don't know the shelf life.
I saw you doing some jump rope. I forget the dancing. I saw your jump rope stuff, man, and I was like, Jesus, I can. Even that alone, I'm amazed.
That's my main workout.
Moves right there.
That's that COVID. All right, I got to master something new, and that's the thing that replaces the breaking every day. I could do that every day, still get that full body workout, drenched in sweat, not notice the time, and then to me that's the secret of everything. That if you want to know the secret of youth, jump rope, bro.
Yeah.
Found
I'm
you.
not gonna lie. I recently started. I never really could get too into it because my knees weren't the greatest, but they've been feeling great, and I've started the jump rope. And then I saw your videos 2 days ago, and I was like, oh, I got a long way to go.
but yo, really I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, that's the thing. If you take your time with it, I'm gonna get super nerdy with you. Okay, I'm gonna tell a story. I tell you guys don't mind if I tell long-winded stories and stuff.
That's all right, man.
All right. So during COVID, right? So I was always doing jump rope for 10 years, right? Because again, I would mix it with martial arts, right? I do Muay Thai and then break. And then jump rope was always my warm-up. Then COVID happened. And I was like, all right, And I was just on YouTube. I saw one guy do a trick. I was like, I could do that, you know. Then one trick came, two tricks. Got totally obsessed with all the tricks, right? Then I started to notice I was out there for like, instead of like, I would do 3 3-minute rounds. I was like out there for 30 minutes. Then because I was trying to figure out a move, these tricks, then I'm out there for 2 hours. Just trying to just go over and over again, trying to get a trick. Not realizing I jumped probably 1,000 times at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
One day my body just shut down. Like it's done. Like you can't do it. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll take a rest day. Took a rest day for 2 days. And then right when I got back at it, I was like, why is this slow for me? This is slow. I need to challenge myself more. Then I started breaking. I was like, am I faster? Like, what's going on? I started feeling like, am I faster? Then my boy, like I said, who was my coach, he was doing jump rope, but just to warm up. Then he saw me do it. Then he started to do it. Same thing happened. And he's 45 now. He was 42 at the time. And then his body shut down. Then he rested, came back. He's like, what the started boxing. He's like, fuck, what's going on? I feel faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why are we moving faster? Like, doesn't make sense. Like, we're over 40. Then I had my boy go, like, I went to my Vegas, and my boy Jay Soul was like, I told him, I was like, and he's like super big in kinesiology and shit. And he's like, so he talked about this thing in your body called myofascia. He's like, when you get old, that's the first thing to go. Because myofascia is the stuff in between your skin and your muscles. And the first thing that gets stiff is that, just because it's dehydrated. That's like arthritis. It's actually inflamed or dehydrated, right? So he said what you did was ballistic stretching. Basically, because you're doing it so many times, you rehydrated all the myofascia in your body. So, because if your myofascia is like stuck, even no matter how much water you drink, there's no hydration going there. So it'll still be like crispy.
Okay.
So he said what you did was you regenerated. He's like, your body's back to a 25-year-old. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, your body's back to a 25-year-old. I was like, holy shit.
And that's all from the repetitive movement?
Jumping up and down. So there's 3 types of stretching, which is ballistic stretching, dynamic stretching, and static. Everyone knows static, right? Yoga is static. You're just holding poses, right? That doesn't open up the myofascia so much. It's a slower process. So, for instance, if you stretch, if you do anything, I'll jump rope for a good hour or whatever. Then I break. This is my dynamic. And then when I cool down, this is my static. That's what's opening my body. So I'm even regaining back flexibility that I had 20 years ago. Like bridges. I didn't have bridges and now I'm starting to get it back, like for real, for real. So when my boy told me that, it's like, that's why it happened. That's why I feel like freaking fast.
Right. You can move better and got you. Oh, okay. Thank you, man. Now that even gives me more reason to keep jumping.
Yeah. Just take your time with it and jump from the hip. Don't use your knees so much, like stuff like that. Then you'll avoid injury. And then always after that, do your dynamic stretching, do whatever workout you want to do, and then cool down. And then, you'll be good, man. I vouch for it, bro. Like, cause I'm gaining, like I said, I'm gaining back flexibility.
Nice.
Like straight up. And like, I take care of myself, like, use the massage guns, all that type of stuff. And so that's just some medical shit. And I'm proving that too. That's another thing. I'm proving it too.
For sure.
I'm proving it too.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's next for Profo 1?
Let's see. I have a few gigs coming up. I have a few judging gigs coming up. My thing is, like I said, I thought I was going to be battling a little bit more this year, but as the media stuff started to happen more and more, I feel this responsibility to kind of like, because like I said, like in breaking, as far as accolades, I have world championships. I have things. It's funny because none of these kids know because it's so long ago. They just know me as the guy who does it versus like, I have actually, well, I have some titles, but they care about my now. So since I've lived that, it's kind of like, it's kind of like that whole thing. What can I do to give? You know what I'm saying? And like in the media, it seems like that's the thing where it's going to, where I'm actually pushing these kids like to like, like the Profo's pick stuff is just about like me finding some B-boy that might not, or B-girl that might not get all the shine and just giving them attention. Like, hey, you know what? You're dope. This guy's dope because A, B, and C. And that's starting to become, even from those guys, like, that's cool when, like, I get featured on this, but when you say it, it's like, all right, cool. Like, it's kind of like they get cool points. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I don't know. As far as the media stuff, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's happening. That's what I'm tripling down on. The breaking stuff, I'm always gonna be breaking. Like, that's the thing. I enjoy it, dude. Like, I was just last night, I did some moves. Like, all right, cool. I'm always trying to push myself. Can I do this? Can I do that? And that'll never stop. I don't think that'll ever stop. Until like it stops. But I'm trying to, like, push against gravity right now. I'm trying to push against age right now. So I don't know. As far as, like, like I talked to my boy Carl Paoli. Like I said, he's like one of the first agents. He's an agent for a lot of the Breaking for Gold athletes that are going to the Olympics next year. And we both said, it's like, we want to be the first ones to kind of sign that, like, first six-figure deal for an athlete. Like, that would be dope. Like, I'm more on that level. It's like, because, yeah, we won't go broke if we're the ones putting them on, right? Like, so it's like,
right.
So it's like that. It's just like, it's just like, I feel like I'm in a very unique position, because I'm like one of the only guys that push the hip hop narrative with breaking, that's young enough to understand the youth, but that's old enough where I could get respect from the elders too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm in a very unique position. It's weird. That's why it's like this trip. Like, when people are like, "You want me in your podcast? Really? Why?" You know what I mean? I'm just working. I don't know how much of a difference I'm putting out there, because, like, I'm always thinking about the next thing I'm gonna do. Right? I just put it out there. All right, what's next? I barely slow down. Right? Like, even on vacation, I'm putting out material. I'm putting on my social media, like, all right, this is next. Got to, like, if you notice, my social media is just like a TV station. Mondays are this, Tuesdays are this, Wednesdays are this. It deviates from here to there, but I'm consistent like that. And I think like that. I create like that. So I have no time to even, like, does anyone like it? Like, I'm more like, I go on to the next.
You're just doing it. Right.
I'm just doing it because it's fun for me. It's a challenge. It's like, it's become like, I just did Dr. Derek's, he did this hip hop documentary, which I really like. And he's part of the hip hop dark web. That's the hip hop dark web is the new thing. I just did a thumbnail for him for his thing. And I did it super quick because he's not used to it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to boom, 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 boom. He's like, oh, that looks dope. All right, cool, use it. So I think that's the media stuff, is that, which is the trades, which is more about breaking, like in one-on-one interviews with not just breaking hip hop. Like, I had DJ Shortcut. I had, like, like I said, I had Redmatic on there from Beat Junkies. Like, I had, like I said, Jeff Chang. And so that's that. Then for the hip hop dark web, that's more of a panel, right? Because everyone that's on the panel are like you guys. And I'll probably invite you guys if you have time. Like, maybe I'll invite a guest and you guys can come on there and, like, ask.
Sure.
And it's more like, that's what it is. It's like really nerdy hip hop dudes. They're gonna ask some really like questions you didn't think someone was gonna ask. So, like, for instance, like with track 2, everyone had, like, questions asked. All right, I'm gonna play Jamie on Joe Rogan. Let me pull up these clips, and then you guys ask questions, and that was dope. Then we had, like, like Michael Holman. So same thing. Like, Michael Holman, like, behind the scenes was like, I only got an hour. I go, all right, word. And I was like, I don't think he's ready for us, And then he was in there like 2 hours, like, still talking, like, and, like, in it, and, like, telling these stories. I'm like, and he didn't think he was gonna be on that long. He was just like, this is dope. Right. So I'll probably have you guys on too, because like I said, I had, like, Save the Hip Hop Culture on there, Carry the Culture, Adiza Bajoko, Pluto, Dr. Derek Cologne, and we're just I find a guest, and whatever questions you got, that's, to me, that's fun, because I learned something more too, because I'm not the one asking questions. I'm actually more sitting back and just, like, finding clips, and because it's a live show, right? And the other show I have is on the B-Boy Network. That's on the B-Boy Network YouTube channel, where I just react to videos. So I'll kind of give commentary and, like, and just, like, some stats on whoever I'm watching, like, what battle has this person won before, or did the judge vote this? So that's very much so more like commentary, which I see myself doing too in some of these breaking events. Like, I did one for the Silverback Open back in 2018. and it was like, you know, they flew me and my partner out, and we did a color commentary. That was cool for one of these big events. So it's like a lot of it's media stuff. So
yeah. That's dope. That's really cool, man. Because like you said, this is what we're in now, right? Everything is so media driven, but not even so much media like us TV, just social media, you know, online stuff, whatever. And that's we need to get into that lane, right? You need to,
yeah. I mean, if you know, who better not to?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have some guys like, yeah, I've taken broadcasting at you know, at Yale. So I'm like, come on, man. Like Joe Rogan never did that. Joe Rogan was just a comedian that liked mixed martial arts. That's it, period. And now he's like, he went from that to what he's doing now.
What he's doing.
And it's like, what better not? And I think that's the whole thing is what we're doing is curating. And that's what the kids, at this point, there's not even radio. It's just playlists and what Spotify recommends you that sounds similar. So this is our way to like introduce them to some dope different stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and you never know what comes out of that. Like I said, like same thing for me. Like I keep talking about these kids because I'm excited because this is the first time the dollar has controlled the market. You know, because like a lot of us used to talk shit about event promoters and judges, and but all we did is nothing. We just talked on Facebook. We just don't, you know, it's like Twitter. Okay, that's great, but these kids are actually like, well, we'll just not go. And we'll go to this thing. Damn, all right, that's even worse than battling, like, you know, because some b-boys in the 90s are like, let's battle the judges, call the judges out, call out Ken Swift because he didn't vote for me. It's like, okay, that's cool, but it didn't get anywhere. Still same statistics happen or whatever judge. Now you could actually, if no one shows up, you're a promoter, like, and then no one likes that judge and no one shows up, that's your money. That's your money, and that's the bigger vote. Okay, maybe next year I gotta change this up. Like,
right.
If I want to keep going, so yeah, it's a great time, man. It's a great time. It never happened. It's never happened in breaking anyway. Like and it'll be, you know, I don't know what to expect in rap. It's the same thing. It's been like that for the last 30 years. Who knows? Whatever. Music is music, but when we're controlling the narrative and we have access to it. And that's what's good about these podcasts. You know what I mean? You learn something. You know, you had Cannabis on. It's like you had him on right before, like he was on Matt Hoffa. And, you know, he just, after he was on the Matt Hoffa show, it's just like, boom. Like, he's back, you know, yesterday's price isn't today's price. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you guys were able to have access to him. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that is kind of like, that's what's cool. That's what's cool. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it's good that you guys are consistent with it. Because like a lot of people give up because it's just like, there's no views.
It's tough.
You know, but then just like that, you could just like, well, you know, that's what I'm saying. You had Cannabis before Matt Hoffa did, and now he has like there's this resurgence. We had him first, see? And that's what I'm saying. It's not just about the views. It's like we were there first. Like and that can help propel you and give you leverage for whatever future project.
Something,
you know what I mean?
It's tough. It's like we've been talking about. It's tough, but I think it's kind of what you said when you're doing it because you love it and because it's just something that, you know, it's just who we are. It gets annoying sometimes when we don't, maybe the views aren't what we think it should be, and this and that, or nobody's really backing us. But at the same time, like you said, when me and Sincere sit back. And we're like, man, we just spoke to Just Ice last night.
Yeah, like, I saw that.
When we're like, you know, not for nothing and that, but, you know, we do tend to try to pride ourselves on, we have you on tonight. And to us, it's, again, Just Ice, Profo. You know what I mean? Like, you represent a certain element, a certain thing of the culture that we love. So, you know what I mean? Like if we had Ken Swift and Profo, like, so it's like you said, man, we pride ourselves on that. And we love talking to people that sometimes don't have the platform, but are very important. Because everybody could talk to, not everybody, but I'm saying these big platforms can talk to like an LL every day. You know what I mean? But who's talking to E-Love or, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's what it is. But can you do us a favor? So you do these Profo picks.
Yeah.
Can you do us a favor? And I'd like you to try to change it a little bit. If you could do your Profo pick but pick like let's just do three.
Okay.
Three of your most influential or favorite, whatever, b-boys from the past, okay. And then do a Profo
recent past or like 80s past, like 90s past.
Let's do 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Profos 3. If you want to do 4, fine.
Okay.
B-boys, and it doesn't matter whether they were breaking, popping, whatever. Just important to you.
Ooh, and then 70s, 80s.
Yeah, and then give us a Profo pick of some new, names that we should be familiar or we should look out for.
All right. Okay, so number one, off my head, this is like 80s. This is more 80s, but like Icy Ice, Magnificent Force, New York City Breakers.
Okay.
That guy was like, that's number one. Like that guy was just, I remember the first time I seen a track on B Street, I was like, what move is that? And just the way he did everything. Okay. And then you would see these clips from like when he did Graffiti Rock and when he did Soul Train. Just to me, he just stood out. Like, damn. Like, he had this he had that little Ninja Freeze thing. And I was like, or his Atomic Freeze or his 360, whatever. It was like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Next level. All right, number two, off the head. Character, I would say Frosty Freeze.
Ooh,
like Frosty Freeze. He was like not the most dynamic dude. You know what I mean? He didn't have the moves, not the cleanest footwork.
Right.
But just personality-wise.
Personality, yeah.
Character, just like pure character. Like, dude was on his tippy toes. Like, you know what I mean? Did like
facial expressions.
Yeah. Like
that quirky body movement.
Yeah. Like Frosty. He doesn't get
funny? You know what's funny about him too is that you would think how much his name comes up and how important his name is, that he was doing it for a very long time. He wasn't even active that long.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But that goes to show you his personality, his character, his knowledge, and
Yeah. I mean, he was like Pluto would say he was the bridge. You know what I mean? Of the original Herc B-boy style. You know what I mean? Like the B-boys that were the Hibalo and the Twilight Zone. Like he was like, he has that style that, basically, from a Sasa and Dancing Doug and the Twins, like he was like kind of like that represent, that old Zulu
King
style. Yeah, that old Zulu style. So, and that to me, he's the bridge. He's like one of the bridges, right?
Okay.
Number three. I would say, and he's not popular, but he passed away like within the last few years, is Float. Float was a guy that lasted generations, man. He had a lot of influence. He was from Incredible Breakers.
Okay.
He was from this guy Float. Like even just Incredible. They before breaking died in the US, they were like one of the last guys in New York to really take power moves to the next level. And Float was one of them. And there was a lot of like stories of like, before he went to jail in the early 90s. And a lot of like the top-notch b-boys, like B-Boy Storm, were talking like, man, before you got locked up, man, he was doing these things in 1992 that we see today, and he was doing it before he got locked up. So I would say B-Boy, even though there's no videos, right? Like I'm just thinking like 70s and 80s, like And obviously those are the most popular, like, these aren't the most popular names, but like I said, like this is just for me, like Icy Ice, Frosty Freeze, and Float from the 80s.
Give me one bonus one from back then, 70s, 80s, as far as a female, a B girl.
I mean, the only one I knew of was Baby Love. Like that's the only one from Rocksteady. That's the only one I remember.
Baby Love, okay.
Yeah, that was the only one that I remember that was like she had clean footwork. For the very few rounds she had, she was super clean. And
I've been trying to find her.
Street.
I've been trying to find her.
Oh no, she's around. I think I follow her on Instagram.
I can't find her. Oh, okay.
Really?
Okay. I
think I'm following her on Instagram. Yeah, I think I'm following her on Instagram. I remember or Facebook. I forgot. I remember when I found like.
I've been trying.
Really?
I looked on Facebook. I've seen. I'm like, I gotta find her, man.
Yeah, Baby Love. Like, cause we're all the steps she does in B Street. That's basically what like. your first 2 or 3 lessons of breaking, you're learning that round.
I saw a video of her talking, saying that step that she does, that she did on the ground, was literally just a salsa move.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
Up, regular up top salsa move.
Yeah.
She just did on the ground.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, cool. I mean, it makes sense, but I'm just saying some people won't catch that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Dope. Yeah. All right. So now, Profo top picks as far as now. Who are some? Give me like 3, maybe 4 of your top B-boys, B-girls to look out for now.
My number one is one of my mentors, B-boy Bounce. He's originally from Canada. That guy is like just a footwork genius, man. So B-boy Bounce, representing MZK and Boogie Brats, like that dude, next level. Number 2, it's actually a new kid. Actually, I really like. He was in the finals of the BC1 last year. This guy Lee from Ruggeds. He's from Holland. That guy is doing some like, okay, things I thought about. I was like, and like then do it like because he's young and he understands the moves, and this kid's been breaking since he was like 10 or no, younger than that. So he's 21 now, but I think his mom was a b-boy, so he just has an understanding of like movement and how to put stuff together, and so the stuff he's doing is like, my God, you're an asshole, bro. like fuck you. Okay. Fuck you. Like I want to be that good. So that's number 2. Number 3, who's really dope? Who's really of recent years? Those are 2 main guys I watch. I think K-Mel. He's originally from the Bronx, Boogie Brats too. He played a big part of changing the direction of breaking. He like what he was doing was like he was one of the guys who really added the dance.
K-Mel,
like the dance, like bring dancing back in breaking. He was like I'm not saying he was the first, but he was the one where everyone was like, oh, that's how, like, when you dance, when you're actually like in the music, and like he's that guy. So that's I got
that's 3.
Bounce, Lee, K-Mel. Oh, this is another. It's funny because all 3 of the guys I'm mentioning are all Boogie Brats. Migas Vengeance. That guy. Okay. That guy changed. So the Boogie Brats style, they're originally from Toronto, Canada, and they did something with unbeknownst to them, they like Mr. Wiggles had this thing called, he created Spider-Man footwork. And these Toronto kids in the mid 90s to late 90s created a whole thing that has influenced the world. And this guy, the last guy I'm mentioning, he's number 1 for a lot of b-boys.
Okay.
So actually, I would say Bounce for me. Bounce first, Mingus, and then Lee, and then K-Mel. So Mingus is just like next level of just, he changed the course of breaking. Like what, like the best way is like if you ever saw a human Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
With footwork, just with style.
Just style,
just understands how to put shit together, and even if it's freestyle, it looks like what the like. It's like a puzzle. It's like, it's like a Rubik's Cube, like just but precise. So yeah, that's my 4.
Nice, dope, very dope.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, man, we go 2 hours in, man. I know we can keep going more, but thank you, man. We appreciate it, man. On behalf of myself and Sincere and Change It to the Hip Hop Guards, man, we can't thank you enough for sharing, your story and some history in general. We're looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing in the near future. Especially with your, all the media stuff and some of your predictions. You know what I mean? I hope to be sitting here looking and be like, oh shit, bro said that.
I predicted. I predicted Joe Rogan talking about breaking a year before he did it.
Really? Nice.
I was talking. Yeah, I predicted it. I was telling my friend. I called up my friends. Like, remember I said that? Remember when I said that? He's like, you called it. I was like, yep.
Nice.
Called it.
Dope. But yeah, man, and also thank you. We just want to say thank you for being somebody that's keeping tradition alive, keep pushing the hip hop culture forward. You know what I mean? It's so divided. There's like so many subgenres when it comes to hip hop. Right now, they're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, and it is a divide in that. Some are saying 50 years of hip hop, and they're just seeing music. Then some are saying 50 years of hip hop, and then you see like the graph and the breaking and this and that, and it's like all over the place. But at the same time, it's still celebrating hip hop, so that's dope. So just thank you for doing what you do, man. Because some people, like you said, stopped because they don't see revenue coming in, they don't see this, they don't see views or gratification. Nobody's celebrating them, and they just quit. So it takes a lot to keep holding that flag up. So thank you. And before we get out of here,
man.
Absolutely.
No problem. And before we get out, let everybody know where they can find you, where can they keep up with you, your social media, websites, everything. You have your YouTube page. Let them know what's up with Profo.
Yo, you could find me right here on YouTube, on the YouTube Profo 1 channel, right? You can, PRFO W and 0 W0N, and then on Instagram at PROFO_FLGZ. There you go.
Okay. Dope.
Very dope.
Any last words you want to say before we get out of here? Anything you want to tell people?
Nah, just thanks for having me. And like I said, if you love this thing, and you're not seeing what you want to see, create it. Create a podcast, create a magazine, create an Instagram page, and you will find your tribe. That's it. As simple as that. Instead of complaining, instead of complaining, they'll find you, actually.
Yeah.
They'll find you. You know what I mean? So, just create, man. That's the answer. The answer is always creation, then complaining. It's harder, but, it'll pay off eventually, somehow, some way. Maybe not financially, but you might find your tribe, and, you guys might create something.
Right.
So, yeah.
Dope. So once again, everybody that's tuned in, thank you for checking us out. Changing of the Hip Hop Guards. It's me, Uncle E. That's my partner, the General Sincere. And you just had a history lesson with Profo 1. Make sure to check him out everywhere. And till the next time. Peace.